you are in the middle of a big tournament, and you still have to just stay cool.
Yeah, and I believe that the climber on the pink problem that we're watching now, that is the men's number 5, as far as I can see, and I think that is Albert Sudhurst from Norway on his last boulder.
Og Gary, kan du ikke lige skrue dig selv lidt op? Right. Hello everyone and welcome to the Nordic Bouldering Championship. Apparently we've had some today, and well, we are already on the way, but Robin, before we jump out to those climbers, how excited are you?
Thank you, Jesper. I'm actually quite excited because, as you said, the delicious they look. Actually really good, and it looks like we're already getting a good split in the field of the juniors and the seniors that are on the boulders now.
Yeah, today it's all going to be out the juniors and the seniors. They're the only ones going to be climbing. Tomorrow Youth A and Youth B are going to be in qualification as well. But today is all about making sure that we know who's going to go into the finals tomorrow from the juniors and those seniors. But we are running a special type of qualification, Robert. Can you tell us a bit more about how that's going to work?
Yeah, so juniors are climbers aged, I think it's 18 to 20, and they are climbing together with the seniors, that is above 20. And they're actually in one big group, which means that only 6 participants from the female and the male field will go through today. So all of these climbers going through the qualifications now, we have to only 6 will advance altogether, actually, from the female and the male group. And what we are actually watching right now is the last problem of the men's qualification, the pink boulder problem there, which is I think maybe also patient, I suppose. Yeah,
absolutely, and I'm sure Frederick has a lot of those. You can see right now he did fall off, but Frederick coming in here as one who's participated in multiple IFSC World Cups, won a bunch of Nordic Championships before, so obviously the experience is with Frederick, but right now you can see a top.
Bjørn Arne Risager. From Denmark. We have had a few difficulties on the first problem, actually, because there is some black tape which you can see there, and some of the climbers have accidentally put their foot on the black tape and have had to do a retry on the boulder. But I think Bjørn gets his first boulder in there. Yeah, maybe talking a little bit more about Bjørn now we're at it, because I think this is his home gym, and as far as I understand, Bjørn has partly quit sort of competitive climbing. But not when it's in his home gym. Yeah. So it's going to be exciting to see how he's going to perform these 2 days.
Yeah, he's going to give it that last swing here. Now, as you mentioned, it is his home gym, so obviously he has to give it a shot. But you also said, obviously, he is a former competitor, did win the senior silver medalist back in the Bouldering Championship in 2018. So obviously, Bjørn has that experience, has been quite high up before, but he's never won a Nordic Championship, and obviously with this being his home gym, he is looking to go all the way.
Yeah. So the 2 problems, or actually the 3 problems that we've got on the screen now is, as you saw before, that's men's number 1, the yellow one. Then you have, I think it is men's number 2 on the left side, and women's number 2 as well. Is that true?
No, I believe that's number 3.
Number 3,
yes.
Down in the roof there.
Quite a powerful one from the women's, and also one that I'm quite excited about. I love how you can make number one look very easy, and we're going to show that to you later. But number two is a lot about just that power and just being so powerful, having so much strength. But right now we're checking in with some of the other boulders as well. As the time is about to run out, 5 seconds, and we're going to have some new competitors out on the stage. Now, obviously, as we have already started the competition, we are going to have an entire gym full of climbers out here now. We do have a lot of climbers that we need to get through. And right here you can already see how we have, Katrine from Denmark just running in here and being super pumped and super ready to get on to number 3.
Yeah. Maybe we can talk a little bit about number 3 there. We've seen it a few times, a few of the girls in action there, and it is actually when you go up through the roof, there's some crimpy hard moves.
Obviously a really strong competitor, a strong athlete, and she knows what you need to do in order to win one of these bouldering championships. She did win as a junior back in 2012, but right now she is a senior, so there's a lot more competition to go for. But right here is where you have to move into that 360 movement. How hard is that, Robin?
Well, that depends entirely on the specific holes, but you can see there that it looks pretty goddamn hard because she had difficulties getting around. It didn't look like to me that she tried to go for that 360. Apparently that's the solution, to turn your body 360 degrees, so you turn at one point with your front towards the audience here. But she didn't seem to go for that. And then we saw a top on number 1.
A quick top from number 1, but I think there might be some problems with the black tape. I can see right now that the referee and the Swedish athlete are talking. You can see how it might look like he has to do another try, as he is pleading his case about whether or not he did touch the black tape. Obviously black tape meaning you can't touch that. It is out of bounds. Yeah. And I do believe that he will have to give it another go, because the referee and him are still talking.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame really, because what's happening there is you can see those 3 black sort of dots outside to the right, and actually quite a few of the climbers have accidentally put their right foot in there in the end move, and they're not allowed, so they have to redo it. So it's a bit of a shame, because it almost comes natural to stabilize your foot out there. So so we'll have to redo it. He looked confident. So I think he will do it now.
He knows what needs to be done in order to do this. Has done it before, and you can see already here moving quickly into those crimps out to one of the last holes. And well, now you just need to do is get into that final hole without dabbing that black tape, and there we go. That's the top for the Swedish athlete. Unfortunately, it took another try, but in the end, he got it done without too much trouble.
Yeah. And I guess maybe, Jesper, we need to apologize that we won't be fully up to date on which climbers is on all the boulders and all that. But I believe this was Fabian Frender from Sweden topping the problem number 1.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, unfortunately things have been speeding up quite a bit here in the gym, so we have had a bit of a hard time following who's on the different boulders. We apologize obviously for the confusion, but we will make sure. You definitely have to give it your all, as it is our last boulder, but it's just so hard when you're coming from some of these powerful boulders, when you're coming from those small crimps, and suddenly you just have to take your time, and with only 50 seconds left to go, time is not really on your side.
Maybe we could also sort of just briefly explain the kinds of boulders we're seeing today, because we have had a brief look at all the boulders today, and you might say that the route setters have sort of tried to set up 4 different styles of climbing, all in all, and quite similar on both the men's and the women's side. So they've put up the first boulder as like a bit of a show boulder, obviously hard, but a bit of a show boulder and icebreaker. The number 2 boulders are both really powerful, and where you need to do something like compression and really a lot. You need a lot of upper body strength. The 3rd boulder, I believe, is very crimpy, testing your grip strength. Is that not true, Jesper? I think so. The 4th boulder is more like coordination and doing more of a jump, really, or several jumps, which is similar to what we're watching here, which is men's number 4. And the last boulder, as we saw before, is more of a slab and a balancy boulder. So really this qualification is about testing all the athletes in four different types of movement and climbing.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked with the head route setter before we started the stream, and he explained to us how you have to test all of the different skills that these athletes they have to have in order to get ready for tomorrow. Obviously, you want to set the perfect boulders for tomorrow, and the only way you can do so is if you've tested all the different skills and you know which kind of things you need to change on your boulders. Do you need to put in more strength? Do you need to make them harder on your fingers? Do you need to have more balance? And you can only know that if you tested all of those different abilities that these athletes they come with. So obviously, seeing one is obviously one way to do it, but also seeing the balance from the women on their last one is also one way to do it. But you also have, as you mentioned, Robin, that skip and jump boulder where, well, it's never going to be easy to get that done if you're not good at those type of boulders. And you can see right there on women's number 4, you also have to go in for a jump, and well, if you're not comfortable doing that, you're going to have a very hard time in the finals, and you might not even get to the finals if you can't get that boulder.
Yeah, what we just briefly saw there was women's number 4, a coordination dyno, sort of going almost downwards on the boulder. And now we are on men's number 5, the balancy boulder.
Yeah, taking it slow, taking it steady here. You can't go too fast or the wall will just spit you right off. So you have to take your time, and you can see right there, the moment that you get out of your balance, you're going to get thrown off.
So maybe I can just quickly explain what's going on the first boulder there, or the...
See how the athlete is leaning all the way back to be able to get that power up, but you're put in such a small box that it's just so hard to get out of it once again. Now, here for the final men's boulder, having just brushed everything might give a bit more friction to work with, might make it a bit easier all in all to get to that end, as we do see the female athlete jump on once again and not being able to land the jump. So back to the men's. This time around getting a bit more balance, getting a bit more into position, but again, without the right balance and without you being able to hold on, you're going to get spit off immediately. 1 minute left, and the female athlete is not going to be able to get it on that try. It is a hard boulder again. It's all about taking your time, and you have to get up onto that big black ball that is there, right there on the wall. You have to mantle on top of it, and it's a really hard movement to get to really fast. And with only 35 seconds left to go, the athlete has to move quickly. One last go. Let's see if she can get it. Getting into position. Goes out. Plenty of time, but can't wait too long. Can't take their time too much, unless they're just going to have to fall off. There we go. Won't have enough time, won't be able to get it. And, well, that's going to be the last try here for our female athletes. That's the end of their qualification as we get another round of climbers out onto the wall. Coming there, you're going to get a bit of help from the brushes, and you can see how now all the athletes are back out here. Starting out on men's number 1, Frede Rasmussen, one of those Danish athletes, will be there to begin with, but on the last boulder for the females, going to give it a thorough brushing before we start. Obviously, a lot of chalk on that one, so you don't want to go in there without having all of the friction in hand, making sure that you're going to give yourself the very best chance at succeeding on that boulder.
Okay, so we're back again here, and right now I think we were watching Anthony Goldstein on boulder number 4, I believe, and Katrine is sailing also on boulder number 4. And as we mentioned before, this is the more dynamic boulders, the coordination boulders, which are watching both the female and the male one. So Anthony Goldstein had, I believe, 1 try, and he's going for the next one now.
And this is our coordination boulder here for the men's.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to do it in a more static way. Well, that was
Anthony making it look very easy here so far, but just falling off from that jump, not getting ready to stem against those black volumes. So making it a bit hard for himself. But Anthony here is one of our big favorites here to win a gold medal. Being a senior gold medalist both in 2015, 16 and 19. Anthony has so much experience and obviously is one of those that you have to look for. If he doesn't get into the finals, that's going to be a big surprise. But you know, stuff like that can happen. For all of those who've seen the Olympics, Adam Under, for example, not winning a gold medal or even getting a bronze medal came as a surprise to quite a lot of people. So it's not only here at the Nordic Bouldering Championships that surprises can happen. As we watch Katrine once again, here on that final one, you have to go up for that compress. It's not an easy one. It's not easy to get all that movement that you need and just get that powerful move. But Katrine tries to go for it, can't quite get high enough, and falls off the wall once again. I do think that's either the second or the third attempt here from Katrine. Not quite sure how many boulders that she's gotten so far, but obviously Katrine also one of those athletes that from Denmark definitely are one of those favorites to get into the grand final. Going out for the swing. She has this nailed down now, and with only 22 seconds left to go, this might just be her last attempt. Looks like she might go for another one. She has the time, 15 seconds. She knows how to get that first part done. She just has to generate enough movement to get up high. 10 seconds left to go. Not quite able to get it, but it was a nice try from Katrina. She figured out most of it, but just couldn't quite get the end.
I'm not sure actually we've seen many tops on that one, because it seems like people are struggling on the last move. So maybe we can see down on men's number 3. I don't know if we can switch to that one.
Our producers will do that in just a second. But yes, I'm sure men's number 3 will come up in just a second. But overall, yeah, it's a hard boulder. It's not really easy. And when someone like Katrina, who has all that experience, can't manage to get that one, obviously, it's going to take quite a lot of strength. And that's something that I'm sure a different climber will be able to show us in, well, throughout this competition. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I will apologize for us not having a timer on screen. We're going to fix that for tomorrow so you guys can see how much time the climbers have left. Obviously, we can see that as we are in the actual building, but knowing how much time adds a bit more tension and makes it a bit more interesting to see how far the climbers they have to go and, well, how much pressure there are onto them, depending on how much time they have left.
Yeah. Yes. Så er vi tilbage her, og det kan være lidt... sorry, English. So we're back here, and we apologize that we can't give you more sort of information while the competition is going on. But what you're seeing right now is Katrine Salling on problem number 4. No, number 5.
Yeah, that is the last boulder here for the women. Katrina, obviously having completed nearly her qualification now, is on that last one. That is also a slow and calm one where you can't really move too fast. You can see here that she's trying to take her time, figuring out how to get out to that big hold right there. Trying to figure out how to use her hand on that upper one as well, trying to go in for a Gaston. Didn't quite work, and she falls off. But yes, as Robin said, we are trying to fix the stream as it's running. Right now, we are able to show you all of the footage, fortunately, but for us commentators, we're trying to fix every little problem as it comes along. So apologies if there are longer periods of time where we don't talk. But fortunately, you can still enjoy watching Katrina here on boulder number 5. Taking your time, obviously, even though it is one of those slow boulders where you can't move too fast, where you have to have the patience and the balance to move slowly, you still need to take your time in between goes. And with half of time left, 2 minutes and 20 seconds in total left, she had to take her time, and well, this is something new.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen anyone try to do it.
That looks fun.
That way, but
if it works, it works, and well, so far it is working here for Katrina. Let's see if it will work more. No, unfortunately not. She is going to fall off, but honestly, I will give her points for her creativity, and apparently she feels like that is the right way because she's once again going for that beta, trying to do it with her facing everyone here in the audience.
yeah. So about 1.5 minutes left for Katrina, and yeah, I think she's going back to the original beta.
Yeah, going back to that normal start. She is making it look easier this way. Obviously, when she does the normal start, she can easier get on to the hold that she's not holding on to, that Gaston. She can easily get out to the big hold as well. And I mean, at this point in time, it is nice to try and go for these beta breaks, to try and see if you can figure out a different way of doing it, if it is easier for you. But it is still a qualification. Every job matters, every zone matters. And so far, I don't even think she's gotten the zone.
So this is boulder number 1 on the women's, and it's a fairly dynamic move with where you need to do sort of like a human flag. After a few balancing moves in the start, you can see there, then you need to sort of jump with your left hand. It seems intuitive to jump with your right hand, but you need to actually go with your left hand and push hard on your right and do sort of a flag kind of movement.
Robin, I remember when I saw this boulder for the first time, I thought it looked hard. I didn't really think that it would be that easy for a lot of these female athletes, but most of the females that we've seen today, they've just had an easy time getting it done, getting the movement in, and I feel like this is one of those good boulders to get into the spirit of the competition. And you can see a lot of these female athletes, they have topped it, and here is another top for another athlete here. But that means that we're going to have another round coming in here, 4 minutes and 50 seconds left to go, so and that means the end of Katrina's qualification.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Tina Hafsas that did the first boulder here that you just saw. And now we are at boulder number 5. And I'll check who's on. I think we have Tuva Eik Have, if I'm not mistaken, from Norway.
Tuva trying to figure out how to do that movement. With the right balance, it makes it easier, but right there she moved quite fast and just was spit off immediately. She has to take her time, but Tuva also one of those big athletes that you definitely can't underestimate, as she has just so many at least one podium under her belt. She did win the silver medal in the 2018 bouldering Nordic Championships, so she knows what you need to do in order to get into the finals, and obviously she's trying to show it right here. She is one of those that you can never underestimate. She can show up and have a really good day, and so far she's showing world-class bouldering right here as she's moving into that big hold.
Yeah.
And now all you have to do is stand there, move your hands up, and that's going to be a big finish here for Tuva, as that rounds out her qualification.
That was a really efficient finish for her on that boulder, and she even chalked up before the last hole. Did you see that?
Well, as someone who chalks up quite a bit when he climbs, I mean, you can never have too much chalk. If that is what you need to do in order to get the job done, then I definitely say go for it.
Yeah.
Back to women's number 1 here. Again, getting the start has looked so easy for a lot of these athletes. It hasn't really been a hard thing for them at all. Hasn't really looked hard for them to get around this corner, but getting the jump is much harder. But this is actually one of the first female athletes, Robin, that I've seen have a hard time moving around here. But obviously, if you're not used to that type of movement, if you're not used to creating that balance and shifting your hips around, it is a hard movement.
Yeah, I guess so. That there is a tricky start. I think she's gonna nail it now. Yeah. Maybe I'm too fast.
Obviously, she knows what has to be done. She's done it before. Just has to quite figure out where the balance is and how to move up. But you can see that she falls off. Unfortunately, that was a delay in the stream. She didn't just sit on her foot for a long time. She did fall off. So a big delay in the stream. Now just shaking her hands, taking her time, making sure that she is ready for her next attempt. She still has 50 seconds left to go, so plenty of time for another or even 2 attempts if she wants to. once again giving it another shot on that boulder number 1, but with only 5 seconds left to go. I think that's not even going to be a zone here for this female athlete from Sweden, but nevertheless, a nice try on this first boulder. And we're going to have another round of climbers now coming on to the stage. Here we're taking a look at boulder number 1 from the men and boulder number 3 from the men as well. We haven't seen a lot from boulder number 3, Robin, but so far it hasn't really looked easy for all of the men.
Yeah, we've had a few tops, and on the right side, before we switched here, we saw there was Theis from Denmark, Theis Effenbein. Back to boulder number 1.
For the women here. Here's one of those female athletes who have figured out how to get that start done. Now moving into position for that big jump. It is a big jog, but you have to create enough movement to move into the jog. Right there you can see how easy it can look if you get that movement built into your jump. Moving up with the foot, and that's going to be one more top here.
Yeah, great top there.
And an important one as well. Getting that good start here to the competition, getting that top already from start, and especially a flash just means that you have so much more confidence moving into the moving into the rest of the competition, meaning that you're just going to be so pumped and so ready to, well, get on to the other boulders.
Yeah, it looks like Theis there got his top. At least he did the signing, and so apparently we didn't see that, but we got the top from Theis on boulder number 2, isn't it? No, number 1. Yep.
Boulder number 1, yes. Boulder number 2, much harder from the man, a lot more powerful. Unfortunately, we don't really have a camera yet, so that we can show you that boulder, but it is a really powerful one. It's all about compression with literally no feet, so it's a shame that you can't see it, but there's so many other nice boulders to watch. For example, the female number 4 right here. I do love how you have to get that jump from the box. Once you get onto the zone, just getting that movement and getting that jump done is not easy at all. Once again, we're back to men's number 3. The Danish athlete here taking their time, making sure to just get ready. And, not rushing anything here. Making sure that they are completely rested before they get onto the boulder once again. It is Frede Rasmussen that you can see right now here on the screen. Frede trying his best to get around the corner. It is a hard boulder, so it's definitely not easy at all to get that one done. But 1 minute 30 seconds left to go here from Frede. Plenty of time still to get this down and land everything. Frede obviously will have to give it their all. Don't want to just, give up without a try. Obviously you can see how he's brushing up, taking his time, saving some power. With 1 minute and those 30 seconds left, you have time to go for 1, maybe 2 attempts depending on how long you take, but Frede just needed 20 seconds before he jumped on. Now with 1 minute left to go, Frede might just have 1 go left. I was about to say it, then he jumps off, or he falls off rather, and 50 seconds left to go. Still one last try to try and get this done, to try and get around to that zone hold.
This is the men's boulder we talked about. That is basically was meant to test the finger strength. Obviously there's a lot going on the boulder, but this was the more sort of finger strength type of boulder. Yeah, but you need to sort of twist your balance around the corner there, which is finding hard.
Yeah, Frede, even though it is about that finger strength, Robin, I will say it has looked a lot about balance as well so far. Frede really losing his balance quite often on his attempts where he has fallen off, and so far that does not lead him to a top. But nevertheless, a good try from Frede as we now get another set of climbers out into the gym. And another climber that might or will give a try at completing men's number 3. I'm quite excited to see someone complete men's number 3. It has looked super hard so far. Our route setter who we talked to before we started this competition definitely said that one would be one of the harder ones. And so far, it has definitely proved true to that. Here we get an overview of men's number 3, and you can again just see how hard that boulder looks. You have to get around the corner, and it's not easy. Obviously, finger strength is super important, but once you get out onto that volume, just keeping your balance is definitely not an easy task at all. But apparently, the referee and our Swedish athlete are having a bit of a talk right now.
Yeah, I think what they're talking about is that some of the athletes have actually started on the boulder, not on the starting position, which you are allowed to if you end up in the starting position and then go from there. So right now we're switching to boulder number 5 on the men's, and that's Bjørn Arne Lisager. On the balancy one, where you need to right foot pop there, but it looked like he had the right solution there, and he was just approaching that sort of thumb catch or this little thumb hold up on the zone there. The zone like a little chip where you can put your thumb on. Okay, back to boulder number 3 here.
Yeah, having a hard time just getting started on this boulder. Obviously, even though we've talked so much about how once you get onto the volume, it can be hard to keep the balance, just getting the start is super damn hard. All of that finger strength needed is definitely not easy at all. As we now do check in with one of these Finnish athletes right here on number 1. That is going to be Rusa. And she gets that jump easily done, gets a top. I think that is her second or third attempt, but an easy top here for Rusa and a good start to that competition. Now heading back over to men's number 3. Still not getting up off the ground. Those crimps are super bad, and remember, this is number 3. It's not going to be easy once you've already been tested on some of the other boulders. Number 2 is super powerful. Number 1, also quite a hard one. So even though it is all about the finger strength, you still need to have a lot of your power left in your tank. And well, it's really hard to have all that power left in the tank. As we're checking with Bjørn, who falls off on that slab. You don't need a lot of power, but you definitely need the balance. And well, Bjørn fell out of balance right there. Trying to get around the corner, however. Let's see if the Swedish athlete can keep the balance. No! It's just pushed out from the wall. Can't quite get their hips close enough to the wall. And that's going to be another fall from the Swedish athlete as we have 1 minute and 12 seconds left to go. Bjørn brushing everything. Surely looking for one last top.
Yeah, I think it looked like Bjørn had the right idea on this problem, and he just needs a bit more time. The question is if he's got enough time. But apparently just like 2 or 3 times he's done pretty much the movement he needs to do, but his feet keep popping off, doesn't it?
Yeah. If you can't quite keep your feet on the wall, you're going to have a hard time on slab problems like these. Now moving up, getting that zone might just be the last go as there's 30 seconds left here for Bjørn. Might not have time or confidence in him being able to do anything more.
So going for the last try here, actually.
after all, it is the last boulder. You might just have to try and give it a go. But Bjørn won't be able to get more than that, and that's going to be the end of this qualification here for Bjørn. I'm sure of it, as he doesn't really have time to do anything more. But no one told that to the Swedish athlete as he falls off with only 2 seconds left to go. That's going to be another round done. Now we're going to have on the women's number 1, Regine Stora from Norway. Another female athlete coming in here and getting onto that number 1 to try and show us how to get a good start here on this competition. Obviously, we've already been told that number 1 from these females is quite an introduction boulder to the competition. So if she can get a good start, then that confidence is already being built up. As we're still checking in here with men's number 3. It is hard. We still haven't seen a top on it, Robin, so far. I'm not sure if any man has topped it at all. That's not what I'm saying, but we haven't seen anything. We've been checking in with it quite a lot so far, but we haven't seen a single top so far here on number 3. But on number 5, that is going to be Fabian Forender going on to number 5. Slowly moving up here, getting his foot into the right position, getting that stone hold. Can he keep the balance, however, is the question. Gets his foot up, and well, this is a very good start here from Fabian, but gets out of position immediately, and well, that's not going to be more from this try. That's Regina, as we talked about earlier, coming in with 2:30. Regina, also one of those young athletes here in this qualification. Regina, however, does have a lot on her CV. You can see she's a junior gold medalist in the 2019 Bouldering Nordic Championship. She's also won bronze in a league championship the same year for everyone in the Nordic countries as well. So obviously plenty of experience to go here from Regina, and if she can get a good start in this competition, then surely that's just going to be, well, even more confidence to build on top of that already impressive resume.
So it looked like she's got the right idea here, and she also quite easily does the jump.
Now she just has to get that top. And the question is, can she get it? Obviously, it hasn't really looked that hard. Once everyone has gotten up there, more or less everyone has been able to finish that boulder and get it done. We've seen quite a lot of different ways, however, of doing that.
Yeah.
Some have put their left foot up onto that big jog. Some have done, like Regina there, and just compressed themselves at the bottom. Regina forgetting all of her stuff right there, forgetting to talk to the referee as well. But that is a top here from Regina, and a good one. On top of that, a good start to the Nordic Bouldering Championship 2020 here from Regina.
Yeah, and I suppose, as we said before, we need to apologize that we can't give everyone some results and give people some kind of idea of how the standings are. Right now, all you can do is get an impression on the different boulders from the qualification, and then we'll have to check up on, the final results later on. But there are a few boulders that have not been topped. Generally, it looks like it has been a fairly hard qualification set by the route setters. Obviously, women's number 1. Many of the women have topped that one. But apart from that, there is quite a few boulders that have only got few tops. Right now, we are seeing Thijs Elfenbein, Orn, and that's pretty nice that we are switching to this camera actually, because then you can see men's number 2. That is sort of this power boulder, sort of the one we talked about that sort of is very like upper body strength like boulder, right? Compression.
Exactly. We talked about how we couldn't show this, but fortunately now we do have that camera on it. So as you can see right there, it's all about going up to that pinch, going out to that undercling-ish hold, but it's not really an undercling. It's more about that compression, and it's just a really hard one. There's really no feet to work with. So here for our Danish athlete, it is looking super hard. You can see here now you have to go out to this compression one, and you don't really have any feet to work with. You don't really have a lot of power. There's 5 seconds left, and that's going to be the last go here. But with only 5 seconds left, and you haven't done what, like 3-4 different attempts, it's just really, really hard. There you see another set of athletes coming out onto the stage.
Believe that, and I may be wrong, but was that Hannes Puman going on to number 1 there? I'll just have to check up on that.
It does look quite a lot like him, but unfortunately we don't really have any real way of checking whether it is him or not. I saw his number now, so Hannes is 109, so that is Hannes that is now going to be on our first boulder of men. Hannes also one of those men that probably a lot of people recognize. He has a huge resume. I mean, just looking down at it, won so many gold medals at the Nordic Championships, both in bouldering and in lead. He has been most successful in lead, however, so it is interesting to see how today will pan out for Hannes. He's a super strong athlete, but he is more of a leader than a boulder, so if he can compete today, he's definitely going to cement just how powerful and how strong of a climber he is, as we are now checking in here with a Finnish athlete over on women's number 1, having a bit of a hard time with that start. Heta Matila is our female athlete on boulder number 1. She is having a hard time with that start, and as we've told you before, it is both juniors and seniors climbing together here today, so it is just everyone on those same boulders. So while it might look easy for some, it can be hard for others, and sometimes that is a difference in the seniority. Other times it's just simply a difference of preference and experience, but so far Heta is definitely making this look relatively easy, this second part. She got onto the top of that hold on a big volume. Now she has to get out to that jog. She has to go for the jump, but this is looking rather uncomfortable for her.
Yeah, it's a little bit of hesitation there, and she had the right idea. Just perhaps just being a bit more aggressive in the jump, and maybe going a little bit further up with her feet on the big volume there could be the solution. I'm not sure.
Yes. At the same time, it's not really easy at all. We've seen some do it statically. Now, this is the dynamic way. The way that the route setters, they intended it to do. They said that it's not hard to get out to that hold. It's not hard to do the movement at all, but the hard part is getting into the right position while also getting out onto that hold. And so far, it hasn't really looked easy for that Swedish athlete.
Yeah, I believe that was Christopher Cleave we saw before on the dyno, the dynamic move.
One minute left to go, as our seconds left to go. Plenty of time to work with. Just has to take their time. And now moving up to those crimps. Won't generate enough movement and will fall down. 10 seconds left to go, and I'm sure that's going to be the end of this qualification round for this Finnish athlete. However, jumping straight on. Obviously, you want to give it a go, but when you don't have the time on your side, you can't really do too much.
Jonas fra Norge og det er mig fra Finland. Vores næste to nye klæder er og Søborg fra Sverige. Undskyld, det var fejl. Det er Frank og Johanna fra Sverige, der er på. Sofie fra Sverige og Søborg fra Sverige.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for us just disappearing out of nowhere. We had some technical difficulties, but now everything should be fixed. As we're checking in with our female athlete over on number 5, 410, I believe. No, yes, 410. So that means that we are currently looking at athletes. I can't quite find 410, unfortunately. There we go, yes. So Ingrid Kinley Hagen, a Norwegian athlete coming in here. One that no one should underestimate as well, with a lot of second place in elite competitions. Obviously not a boulderer, but as I say that's a flash here from Ingrid.
Yeah, quick flash from Ingrid there. Maybe we should also just say that we are working to getting up some results, or at least giving you, so we can see some results that we can pass on to you, so you have some idea of how the standing is. We're currently getting a screen up so we can see the results and give you some more information.
Yes, we are indeed. So right now we're trying to figure out who is currently placed on what. But now we're checking in with men's number 3 and men's number 1. So on number 1, that is going to be...
That's Anton Young.
Yes, one of our big, strong Danish athletes. Won the Danish championship in lead here last year. So obviously is quite efficient at lead, especially when he's able to throw our old champion Thomas Blobjerg off the podium, but coming in here with a big and easy grab off that boulder as well means that now Anton should be finished. Might have touched that black tape as well. Obviously that is a big problem for a lot of the male athletes. They don't think about where their feet are when they're moving on to those different crimps, so might have to do it all over again.
No, I think he's alright, actually. I think they're good. Just getting the signature there. So I think he did actually flash, as far as I saw, men's number 1.
Yes, but now we're checking in there with women's number 4. I'm still quite in love with the movement that you need to make in order to complete the end here of women's number 4. It's not easy to get up into that compress. It's easy to get out onto the box, or relatively easy, one should say, obviously. But for a lot of these female athletes, getting into the box, not the hardest thing in the world, but getting the energy and creating that momentum up into that compression, up into the finish hold, has not been an easy task so far, but lining it up, not getting high enough, and that's going to be another attempt here from our...
This Regina Stora from Norway.
It's from our Norwegian athlete right here, Regina. We've talked about her earlier. She is also one of our very experienced athletes here today. She won gold in the Youth A category back in 2018 at the Bouldering Nordic Championship, so obviously knows what needs to be done in order to win. But so far, having a bit of a hard time creating the energy needed to get up into that compression. As she's lining up for another attempt, getting on to the starting position, now jumping out into that box. Obviously knows how to get out onto that box now, but obviously the rest of it, not that easy.
I am not quite sure, but I don't think we've seen the top on this one, have we?
Not that I remember. We've seen a lot of female athletes having a hard time on it, but I don't think we've seen a single top quite yet.
Because there's this final move where you need to sort of do a double dyno and go directly further up to the blue hold and sort of kick your right foot out onto the wall actually at the same time is the idea, I suppose.
No one is finding it quite easy quite yet. So that's going to be another attempt on a boulder without us seeing any tops. As we move on to another round. This time around, a Finnish climber 303 coming in here on the men's side. While on the female side, we're still missing our first competitor on women's number 1, as we are looking over at women's number 5.
I think
on women's number 5, that is going to be Rusa, 201. So trying to get up onto the start, slowly making her way out onto that big hole, and apparently she's having the same idea as Katrine Salling from Denmark had, starting with her facing the crowd. It is an interesting idea. Haven't quite seen it work yet, but you know, someone has to be the first one to do it, and well, this might just be Rusa's time. Falls off just in the same position as Katrine. Hasn't really had an easy time, or they don't have an easy time getting out onto that hold. It's looked much easier when they do it the right way, the intended beta way, not with them facing the crowd. As Rusa are now out of the picture, but she's obviously not done. You still have 3 minutes left to go. She's just taking her time, sitting down, swapping shoes, I believe, as well. So coming up with a different pair of shoes this time around. Looks like she might have swapped over to a pair of Solutions, if I am not quite mistaken. And well, if that is her shoe of choice to get onto this boulder and get it done, well, then I don't blame her.
Yeah, you see that once in a while. Some of the athletes choosing to change the shoes in the middle of the 5-minute time they've got on the boulder. A bit of a risky move sometimes because you obviously lose some time, but you see that. I think I saw Adam Andre even do that in the Olympics the other day.
Well, Adam is also famous for climbing with 2 different pair of shoes, but this time around Rusa will not do it. Oh, tries her best to hold on to that hole, but with it being a slope, it's not that easy, and obviously a lot of people have climbed on it so far. So, well, there's a lot of chalk on it already, and if you don't really take your time to brush it, then it doesn't help. But Rusa sitting down once again, just chalking up, getting ready, going for yet another attempt. She still has plenty of time, 1 minute and 50 seconds left to go, and, well, I will say Rusa knows how to take her time, knows how to be efficient. It is not a very powerful boulder, so you can take a lot of attempts, but you don't want to take too many attempts, or else that's also going to be something that's going to be dragging you down when you get over to the or when we are in the qualifications of those finals. Every attempt, every zone, every top matters, so you have to be efficient when it comes to how many attempts you try.
Yeah. I think what we're seeing here is when we talk about attempts on a boulder like this, obviously you don't necessarily get really tired on a slab like this. So you might give it quite a few goes, as you see she's doing here, Rosa. And the thing is that it can still be too many attempts if you sort of lose your concentration just going on and on. But obviously this is her last boulder, so she's just going for it.
Yes, and now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be having standings ready for you all in just a second. We have our team behind us working their hardest to get that ready, to make sure that we can tell you all who is on top, who is leading the way so far. As Rusa jumps onto one of her last attempts, 30 seconds left to go. Hasn't looked super confident going out onto that hold quite yet, but if you can just get out there, I'm sure that she has the experience needed to get up, but no! Falls off. 12 seconds left to go. Does she go for another one? Looks like she will. 10 seconds. Come on, Rusa, you can do it.
Obviously, she's trying to just see if she can get the zone, maybe. Ooh. Yeah, no.
Yes, that time runs out. That's going to be the end of Rusa's qualification. And now we're going to have 2 Swedish competitors going on to the mats. This time around, it's going to be the end of the qualification for number 213 from Sweden. That's going to be competitor Regina Stora. As we mentioned multiple times, a big favorite here today. So let's see if she can complete this slabbish boulder. Has the experience necessary to land her that the victory and that top. However, she obviously needs to do the climbing as well. Regina pulling onto the boulder, taking her time. Remember, this is a boulder where it's all about concentration and being calm and being slow and steady. So far, Regina looks very calm and is taking it super slow as well, but falls off. Couldn't quite get into a position where she could rely on her leaning out to the left. Having a hard time getting into that starting position. That is surprising to me, Robin, considering how we've seen a lot of competitors being super, making this start rather look very easy, but then once you need to get out onto the big holes, or to get out onto the big sloper, they're having a relatively harder time.
Yeah. Getting their right foot up to actually start the boulder here is proving pretty hard when it's in terms of flexibility. I'm not quite sure she got that start there. No, she didn't. But just getting up there. That's why we've seen quite a few athletes try to do it with the sort of the opposite way, with their front facing outwards, which doesn't seem to work as well. But you do have two tiny holds down. You can see there she's now taking hold number. She's sort of putting her left foot on hold number 2, which might be pretty good. And okay, she's using her hand to get that right foot up there, which is good.
You know, sometimes you have to do that. I've done that multiple times as well. Yeah. Sometimes when you're just not flexible enough, that is the way forward. But Regina falls off once again. 1 minute and 55 seconds left to go. And plenty of time for Regina if she can just figure out how to get this start going once again. She did it before. She has done it before. So, like, it's not unusual for her to get this done. We've seen her touch that hole before. Now she's in the same position again. Let's see if she can then just commit to that sloper.
That is a really good attempt. And you can see how she actually gets the second foothold down there nailed, and that makes a whole difference. Question if she can do this half mantle and she's go for the knee.
Well, if it works, it works. It looks uncomfortable, but it definitely worked this time around here for Regina. So
also choking up before the last thumb catch or like really small hold up there.
It's not a big one, but she will get it done, and that's going to be a top here from Regina with 1 minute left to go.
Yeah.
Shakes her head. Perhaps cannot believe it, or perhaps just thinks that the boulder is super, super hard, but nevertheless she is able to do it, and that is going to be another top here from Regina. Again, as we've said before, standings are coming on the way, so we can't quite tell you how many tops in total that is from Regina yet, as we're checking in here with men's number 1.
Well, I think we saw some interesting solutions there from Regina in terms of, like, if she lacked a little bit in flexibility, she either used her hand to get the feet up there, or in the other case her knee actually. So that was quite an interesting solution.
Absolutely was, but here we go. Our male athlete moving out, getting the crimps done, getting awfully close to that black tape, but you have to be careful not to touch it. And that's the end of this round, so unfortunately won't get this one.
So I think this is Max from Denmark. Max Jørgensen going on to boulder number 1. Obviously, as we've seen a few times, boulder number 1 is fairly crimpy. It starts out with a really high right foot. Sort of, you almost have to sort of walk up, use the friction on the wall and walk up and do a large sort of Gaston move, right, with your right hand.
Yes.
And then get your right foot up. And after that, it's the next few moves are basically on tiny footholds and small crimps, right? So a bit of classic climbing coming up after the first few moves. So it'll be interesting to see how Max goes up on this one.
Yes, but just because it's a classic doesn't mean that it's going to be easy for Max. He is getting up to that second hold and slowly moving up there, but spending so much energy just trying to figure out how to do it. Falls down. That's his first attempt. Not the intended beta. The intended beta is to get your right foot up onto that starting hold really high up, but if you get up into that Gaston, it is relatively easy because that Gaston is just so good. But with that being said, this is kind of a redemption story here from Max. Hasn't really won anything since 2017, where he won the bronze medal at a Nordic championship in bouldering, but since then has kind of fallen off the radar. So let's see if Max can get a good start to this competition and might just make that redemption story.
So he's certainly got the right idea there, and gets to the crimpers there, so he found the solution, and now he's just trying to sort of stand on those, you can't see it on the stream probably, but really tiny footholds, but doing really well on the crimps actually.
Yeah, doing good so far. Come on, Max. One more movement, not quite able to do it. Jumps forward, out of balance and out of position. That's not the way you want to be when you are going for that very last movement. So unfortunately for Max, he falls off, and that is going to be the end of that attempt here for Max.
But as you could see there as well, he was also awfully close to the black tape again. So I'm a bit worried if he finally gets that hold, if he will actually get it approved, or if he's going to touch the black tape again. That's a bit of a shame, as we talked about earlier on, that the tape is there, because it's sort of, quite a few athletes has had to redo their try actually.
Yes, we've seen so many athletes so far being pulled down, being asked to step off the boulder simply because they've touched that black tape. Black tape obviously meaning you can't touch it, and there are 3 different areas here on men's boulder number 1 that you just simply cannot touch. So Max has to be careful like every other athlete, and well, with 1 minute and 15 seconds left to go, he's talking with the referee, or getting ready for that last go. So Max, one good go left on him before he can, or he has to move onwards to a break. But it has looked relatively easy so far for Max. Has figured out how to do the entire boulder but that last hold. So I will be surprised if Max doesn't get this one. However, time is running out, 45 seconds. Out onto the crimps. Puts down that foot. Isn't able to do anything more. The toe hook simply not doing enough this time around here for Max.
Yeah, I think he's going to go for one last try, but unfortunately there's only about...
Attempt nevertheless. Our new competitor on the stage is going to be Jack Lindvall from Sweden. coming in here as 3:08. Jack, as you can see in your picture right now, looking to make his appearance here on this this Nordic scene. We haven't really seen too much from Jack in the past. He's only really participated in one IFSC Youth Cup. That was in 2021. He did land a 34th place, so I mean, it's not like he's not a competitor that can handle this pressure, but he hasn't won a single medal at a Nordic Championship yet. So let's see if this might be his lucky day.
So perhaps we can just quickly mention that we are getting the results in slowly now, and there's obviously no. This is our only preliminary results, but we can just quickly. Unfortunately, we can't get it on the screen, but we can tell you that the first 3 women right now is Hannah Midtby on first place, Sunniva Have on second place. I didn't get the third one.
That was Gaia from Denmark, Gaia Toft. So
Gaia.
currently 2 Norwegian females in the lead, and Gaia chasing that after them.
And on the men's side, we're having Fredrik Selachus as number 1, Anthony Goldstein number 2, and the third one, I think it was Nico maybe. We'll give you that update in a minute.
Yes. Unfortunately, the standings are a bit too fast for us. I think they are on screen for like 5 or 6 seconds, and I don't know about Robin, but I'm not a rapper, so I can't be too fast. But now looking at the females, after Gaia, it's Tina Hafsus from Norway, Sanja Kolgin from Finland, and then Katrine E. Jensen from Denmark. That's the top 6 right now on the female side.
And number 3 is Albert Sutthurst from Norway. Bjørn Arne Isager is number 4, and Tuka Simonsen is 5
and then,
on the men's side.
And then on number 6, that is Emil Abrahamsen. So currently, not too many Danes, and I will say I am a bit biased as I am a Dane, so unfortunately not too many Danes right now in the top of those standings, but things can still shake up as we are checking in here still with Jack Lindmold over from Sweden and Anton Jung Hansen from Denmark on men's number 3. Anton, still a young climber, still many years ahead of him, and I am definitely excited to see how he's going to do here in this competition. Has been a Boulder champion in Youth A in Denmark, a lead champion many times in Youth A as well. Danish lead champion so far too, so obviously has a resume to back up his performance, but we do need to see him climb very well here today. And as you can see on your lower right hand corner, only 1 minute and 15 seconds left to go, and well, he still hasn't been able to top boulder number 3, which definitely puts him a bit behind all the other competitors that we do have here today.
Really good try from Anton there. Unfortunately, we can't really see the details on the screen on this stream right now, but I think this is within reach for Anton actually.
Jack, however, pulling on to those crimps, moving a bit further up on that second hold on the boulder that gets stung.
So quite many of the climbers have gone for this toe hook that we see right now, and I'm not sure it's the best solution actually, because after having the toe hook, they need to sort of transcend over on those tiny footholds. So I'm not sure that is the right solution to go for the toe hook. Maybe it will work for some, but just maybe going straight over on the small foothold is better. Unfortunately, Anton doesn't get any further on that one as well.
But you definitely are right, Robin. A lot of the climbers on men's number 1 have tried to put this toe hook in place, and it just means that they're having a hard time moving out of that position. It is super comfortable, so they don't really want to do it. This time around, coming in here from men's, on the men's boulder is going to be 3-1-4. Arne first, right? And however, we are taking a look at the women's number 4, swapping back over to number 1 from the men's. So that is going to be Arne, just brushing up before his first attempt. It is super important to go for that brushing. You want the most friction. You want to make sure that you have the best possible outcome to begin with. So if you don't take your time brushing, it can just make a huge difference. So Arne takes that time, already having spent 1 minute just getting ready, brushing up, and now going for his first attempt.
So currently looking at the men's side, as we said before, Fredrik Solasius is in the lead, and I just saw that he had topped 4 boulders. So that tells you, and he's the only one who's topped 4, the next one's topped 3 boulders, so that tells you a little bit about the difficulty of the qualification.
Fredrik is definitely a strong climber, and I would also be surprised if we did not see him in the finals tomorrow. However, with that being said, Arne is awfully close to that black tape, and I think he's going to be pulled down. Yes, he will. You'd see the referee immediately coming over there, telling him to get down and do another attempt. Touched or got inside the black tape. In fact, so like you can't do much more. You are not allowed to touch that. That means that Arne will have to go for another try.
Yeah, that's obviously really frustrating, right? Because it basically comes natural to stabilize yourself right down there. So yeah,
absolutely. And if that's where you feel comfortable, if that is where you feel you need to put your foot in order to stabilize yourself, well, then you just have to find a different way. Unfortunately, black tape means no go.
Yeah. So. Yeah, also actually interesting now. Obviously, you can't see the score, the scoring board as we can right now, but Hannah Midby is currently leading in the qualification. As far as I understand, Hannah Midby has not participated in too many competitions lately, but I think she's maybe just coming back to it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Hannah has been off the competitive scene for quite a while. Is also recently became a mother as well, so has had a pregnancy that affected that all in all. But if you just look back at her career, it has been quite a glorious one. She won her first gold medal back in 2006, was active in quite a lot of IFSC World Cups, but haven't really been active since 2017, which is also where she got a silver medal in lead and a gold medal in bouldering at the Nordic Championships. So she is one of those ladies that you just have to keep an eye out for.
But really,
definitely can't underestimate her.
Really interesting to see her back in action. It'll be also interesting to see her hopefully in the finals tomorrow. So the task right now is obviously to climb the boulder and at the same time not touch the black tape there.
Yeah, and Arne, having already been called down once, is super close to it, but is not touching it. I think he saw that he got really, really close to it, pulled himself up, made sure not to touch it. Good job, Arne. That means a first top here for Arne.
Sort of proved to be the crux of the problem, keeping your right foot away from that black tape.
And I'm not sure the route setters intended that to be the crux, but you know, sometimes that is what can happen. But we do see right there one of our athletes falling off men's number 3, giving up. We can see him walking off the stage. As we're taking a look at men's number 5, we're about to see more climbers get onto the stage. In just 5 seconds, this round is going to be over. A lot of Swedish athletes now getting out onto the mats. And I do believe our first climber on the men's side is 107.
The men's is Ludwig Holt on what?
On number 1, it's going to be Alexi Mikola.
Oh yeah.
Ludwig Holt is going to be on boulder number 4, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, Ludwig Holt, that is 307. No, sorry. That is going to be boulder number 4. Oh, sorry, no. No, boulder number 3.
Yeah.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I am getting a bit disoriented up here, looking both away from the camera and over towards the actual boulders. But with that being said, Alexi here, getting ready for men's number 1. Excuse the camera work, it is a handheld camera, so can be a bit shaky at times, but it is the best that we have to work with here for us to show you men's number 1. But Alexi making quick work of men's number 1, hasn't topped it yet, but is already out onto those crimps.
That was really interesting because he actually managed to go the total opposite. He that was great effort there because he also did it in another way than all the other climbers. He went with his left hand in the start, not the gas stone, but apparently that worked for him. Quite impressive.
Sometimes that can be the way forward, to just try and shake things up, but you know, for Alexi, if it means that he will get his first top, then that is very nice climb from him. Got really close to that black tape, but the referee didn't pull him down, and that means a very confident start and efficient start here from Alexi, not having to do the boulder once again. So saving up a lot of energy. Looking over, however, at men's number 5, we haven't seen that in a long time. Our competitor over there is going to be Frank Hillback from Sweden, and he's going to be pulling on to these starting holes. Moving out, obviously, has to take his time, and with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go, plenty of time to try and figure this out. But with that being said, also having spent half his time just trying to figure out the start is not really a good sign for things to come.
One question you also have to ask is whether the holes are more slippery now. We've been the competition has been going on for a few hours. Obviously, quite a lot of climbers have been on them. So normally, I'd say that the holes get a little bit worse. Not a great deal, but they can get more slippery and the friction a little bit lower. And this could play a role on a problem like this, I suppose.
And obviously, Robin, talking from experience, he is an old-time competitive climber, so has experience climbing in these kind of competitions, has experience coming out as one of those last climbers, moving on to a hold where, well, perhaps 15, 20, 30 climbers have already been onto it and been, well, not only shredding some skin on it and putting chalk on it, but perhaps also some rubber from their shoes. Everything can play in and affect how great those holes stay on.
So if you go to the World Cup, there's like a ranking system, or you get sort of points from previous competitions, and the best ranked climbers, they actually go in first. So coming in as a newcomer into the World Cup, quite often you go in as like number 70 or something like that, and the holes can be quite slippery. So that can be very hard to come as a newcomer in the World Cup. Looks a little bit better, this. Yeah.
Swings around, does not have the balance to complete that boulder. 25 seconds left to go. Still has one more good attempt left in him, but has to keep that balance moving up, getting onto the hole, but unfortunately won't be able to complete that, and I think that might just be it here from our Swedish competitor with 5 seconds left to go. That's going to be the end of his qualification, and another round will begin. The time runs out. 4 minutes and 55 seconds now left to go for all the new competitors and the ones that have been competing for quite some time now. We're still checking in here with men's number 5. It is an interesting boulder, Robin. I do feel like I'm not sure how many chops it has seen, but it's such a hard boulder if you don't know how to get into balance, if you don't know how to take your time getting that efficient movement in.
Yeah, people are finding it really hard to get past the point where you sort of push your thumb up towards a little chip there. I'm not sure we've seen anyone really go past that point. So now it's Max Johnson on that's boulder number 3, the crimpy one, on the men's number 3.
Yeah, the one that is a lot about your finger strength. We have seen so many different climbers on this boulder so far, but haven't seen Max yet. And even though it is about that finger strength, as I've said, it's also a lot about the balance when you're moving around that corner. We've seen so many climbers just fall off once they get onto that volume, where they can't keep their balance and they just can't bump their way forward because they're not able to hold themselves in place.
And I believe that we've got Johannes maybe on the right side there, over on the number 1. Can't really see his number. It's 170. Yeah, that's Johannes. Yeah, but as you see, Max has a little bit of has a hard time sort of getting onto the starting position. And one interesting thing here is that you are actually allowed to use the other holds getting into the starting position. We've seen some other climbers do that, starting up with the sort of the big volume down there to just get into position and then getting your starts. So yeah.
However, Max able to do it without using the volume. Now this is the position where a lot of climbers they have fallen off. It's so hard getting around that corner. It's really hard making sure that you stick to the wall. So Max falls prey to the same trap that so many people before him have fallen prey to. And
I think I was probably mistaken there. He did get the starting position. It was the number 2 move, wasn't it, that he's struggling with? I think he did have the starting position.
It is. He is able to get into position so far. He has spent a little over 3 minutes to get into that starting position, but moving from that frog-ish position has proved quite hard for Max so far. Now, once again, into that position, you can just see on his face how much strain there is on his fingers, how much it hurts to just get into that position.
Yeah.
Or like just, not necessarily hurts, but just how much power there is going through your fingers just to hold yourself onto the wall. You know, the crimp, it looks super good and it is a really good crimp, just not when you're in that position and you don't really have too much power left to go after you've done boulder number 2, which we have shown here on the stream is a super powerful one.
Yeah.
Max trying to see if perhaps moving in with his left hand is easier. Decides not, jumps down with 1 minute and 5 seconds left to go. Still has plenty of time to go in for another attempt, but at the same time you still need to conserve your energy, make sure that you are well rested enough to actually give this last attempt an efficient try. Max just standing in the background, chalking up. You can't quite see it. He's out of frame, but we can see it, and now he moves up to that boulder. Wants to give it one last try. 30 seconds, plenty of time. Grabs onto the crimp. Super good job, Max. Now into that frog position. Has to bump his way forward. Has to also keep his hips onto the wall, but can't quite do it. And I'm sure that is going to be the end of this boulder here for Max. 12 seconds left to go, running out of time. Gets his piece of paper, and then will just walk right off. But a good attempt all in all here for Max, I will say. I feel like he fought really hard to get onto that boulder. Didn't get the zone hold, but gave it everything, and now can take a well-earned rest.
On to boulder number 1. I believe we've got Nicholas Tompkins from Denmark.
Obviously, because of the current corona situation, we don't have too many spectators in the venue here today. Most of the spectators are athletes and their coaches who are just looking at the competition and just, well, taking their time, enjoying this, making sure to soaking all the energy as well. So, right here, you can, however, see our newest competitor, Nicholas, getting on to that crimp.
Yeah.
And, well, for Nicholas, it is looking like he's taking his time trying to figure out how to get in that position, but might just want to bump his way forward. Not something we've seen too many athletes do, and that's a different toe hook. Also one that we haven't really seen too many people do. Oh! Is out of position. Has to, falls down, unfortunately. Also getting super close to that black tape is very dangerous, but nevertheless, for Nicholas.
Yeah, I think he needs to move onto those tiny footholds before he goes for the next hold. That's what we've seen others do, I think. As we talked about, there has been some attempts with using the toe hook. Some has made it work, but I think he needs to just move further down on the tiny chips there before going further up.
However, for Nicholas, he is one of the newest athletes on the Danish national team. Hasn't really won anything yet, hasn't really made his mark quite yet, but is young and is definitely hungry for titles. So getting a first top here today on men's number 1 would definitely be a good start for
we're seeing feet first there almost. Did you see that?
That was awesome. If you can do that, if you come up with your beta breaks, then that is definitely one way to do it.
I'm not sure at this current position on this boulder, but points for creativity, I suppose.
Nicholas taking his time, shaking his arms. There's no reason to just like jump onto the boulders all the time. You have to take your time. You only have those 5 minutes, so you have to preserve your energy and you have to make sure that you give it some good attempts.
Yeah, I guess maybe Nicholas also feels that he actually has pretty much figured out the solution, so he takes a longer rest. Because just to give it one really good go, and that's what he's trying now. So it'd be interesting if he can sort of get onto those tiny footholds before he goes further. That looks more promising than the first attempt.
Yeah, Nicholas now onto the crimp,
no!
Touches the black tape, is called down, and with 1 minute and 8 seconds left to go, Nicholas still has plenty of time, but that's unfortunate because that looked like a really good attempt, and obviously the more attempts you have to use, the more energy you also have to use.
Yeah, you don't want to use many tries on this one. It's very sort of it takes up your energy really quickly, but he gives it another go now with 45 seconds left approximately.
Nicholas knows what he has to do, knows exactly what the way forward is, so moves out onto the crimp with the foot down onto the first foothold. Toe hook in place. We've seen this from him before. It has worked before as well. Now just has to control this swing. Can't get his foot inside the black tape. It's awfully close. I can't see if he's touching, but he hasn't been called down. And that's going to be a top here from Nicholas.
I think that's top, yeah.
Awfully close. Playing with fire, but gets the top, and that's a good start from Nicholas. As we've said, hungry to make his mark here on the Norwegian stage.
Very strong start from Niklas, I think.
Yeah. A good start all in all here from Niklas. As the competition for the women are slowly getting to a finish. I'm not sure how many more female competitors we have left. There are quite a few more than the males, but when it comes to the female, there are not so many, so they are supposed to end, I believe, 40-50 minutes before the males.
And on men's number 1, we're having Gustav Sonnesen is starting. Perhaps we can also just give a brief a bit of information about the standings as they are right now. Obviously, these are still not. These are very preliminary results, and they are sort of slowly coming in, the new results. But
Yes.
on the, we can maybe start on the women's side in a second when we see the results here.
Yes, on the women's side, right now at the top, it's still Hannah Midtborg, followed by Sunniva Have, Ingrid Kindlehagen, Rusa Huptkov, Gaia Toft, and Tina Hafsos, following respectively after those two. So quite a stacked lineup right now over on the women's side.
And on the men's side, we got Frederik Selasius, Anthony Gulsten, Leo Kjetilbø, Hannes Puman, Albert Sudhurst, and Bjørn Arnold Isager as number 6. So that was his standings there. I suppose that's the only Dane we've got in the... as we talked about, we're a little bit biased here, being from Denmark.
Yes,
but,
yes, unfortunately not too many Danes quite yet in the top 6. Things can still shake
Yeah.
up, but so far it is Gaia and good old Bjørn who are the hopes of Denmark, but you know, things can still change up. We still have a few Danes left here today. As we're checking in with men's number 5 right now, we do have one of our Finnish athletes over there, 303. So that means that's going to be Emil Ylolo. I am very sorry for mispronouncing that last name, but Emil, nevertheless, on men's number 5, about to round out his qualification with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. Emil has so many good attempts left in him. Tries to move out onto that onto that press, moving up with his left hand. I don't think this is a beta we've seen too many athletes use so far, but if it's working for him, then it's working for him. Unfortunately, not quite doing so as he falls off, and will have to go back up to just brush it and make sure that the chalk is not what gets in the way for his good attempts.
I guess this has also proven to be perhaps the hardest problems for the hardest boulder for the men. I'm not sure we've seen any tops. Unfortunately, we can't see which boulders has been topped on the screen. But I'm pretty sure this one hasn't been topped. I haven't seen it.
Yes, we know that there's been only Frederik with 4 tops so far. Anthony on second place come in with 3 tops. So there are 1 boulder all in all that still hasn't been topped, and it might just be that one. It has been extremely hard for a lot of our athletes here today to top, and even though I expected number 2 to be the hardest one, the one where you have to go for all these compressions and just really be super powerful, it has been more about the slow and steady phase / slab climbing that has been the real challenge here today.
Yeah.
Once again, Emil pulling on. Getting up with his left hand, but just slips. It is not a very positive hold. It's not super good. And, well, Emil is just another climber falling prey to that boulder, having such a hard time just getting anywhere off from the start. 5 seconds left to go. That was the last attempt here from Emil, as that's going to be the end of his qualification. And another round will begin. Our new competitor from the men's side is going to be Truls Jørnum Mikkelsen, coming in from Norway. That means that we have now 5 more men left before we are going to be looking to round out this qualification for the men's. Obviously, they still have to get through every single boulder, so it's not like it's just going to end out of nowhere, but 5 men left, and then we're going to have the results coming in about who's going to be moving into the finals tomorrow from the men's side. On the women's side, we're still waiting for those final and fixed results, but they will be coming in slowly. Looking over towards men's, it's going to be Ludvig Holt, trying his best at doing men's number 5. Still, we haven't seen a single man do boulder number 5, so I would love to see it being done here today, but I mean, just seeing how dominant Frederick has been and him possibly not having done that boulder, it would be surprised me if anyone else really could do it, because when you're looking down the table, you only have 2 people being able to do 3 boulders, you have 4 people doing 2, and then from there on it just kind of runs out. So many people not being able to do a single boulder, and just everyone having a hard time. But Ludvig getting onto that sloper, moving out. Ooh. Oh, gets his foot up. We've seen a lot of people in that situation where they get that thumb screw.
Yeah.
They are able to get to that point, but man, getting along from there, moving further, has been such a hard task. And you just see even Ludvig can't move further than the thumb screw.
No, it sort of looks like you need to move a bit further to the right before sort of even approaching this thumb screw, because you need to get both feet on, don't you? You can almost see it there with the black marks on the holes where you'd ideally be with both feet, I think. Perhaps even going up further with your right feet into that hole. Yeah.
But Ludvig going in for yet another attempt. Ludvig, only real medal that he's gotten so far is a 3rd place at the 2019 Lead Championship here for all those Norwegian countries in the Youth A category. So obviously, that's been more effective at getting lead results than boulder results. And that just might mean that he's going to have a really, really hard time here on this boulder if lead is where his normal playground is.
Yeah.
But 1 minute and 25 seconds left to go. Ludvig still has plenty of time to go and to try and get some results done. Now, Ludvig looking to get onto this boulder here. Moves out. Has that right hand in place. Now left hand as well. And gets his foot up. He's done this before. That thumb screw is now what he's looking at. Let's see if he can do more than this. Has to get up into the thumb screw. Can't do more. Unfortunately, tries to kick his foot back in place, but that's going to be, well, maybe the last attempt here from Ludvig. He has 30 seconds, but considering how much time you just spent getting in position to get that thumb screw, I mean, you'd really have to be quick, and this is not a boulder where you want to rush anything. Right foot up. Thumb screw in place. But falls off, unfortunately, for Ludwig. That's going to be his last good attempt. Time runs out. You can hear the horn in the background. And that's going to be the end of Ludwig's qualification. As we now see Tony from Finland coming in. Tomi
Salo. So just looking back at the qualifications so far, I guess the route setters have done a good job, both in terms of, I think, building some technical and also entertaining boulder problems. Perhaps a bit on the hard side. They might have to do a few adjustments for tomorrow just to get the level quite right. We've seen, as we talked about, we've seen 4 tops as the best result. So obviously they would probably have liked to see a few athletes doing all the boulders, but that's always a risk doing them too easy. But all in all, I think they've done a great job of sort of separating the athletes and also just the quality of the boulders. Really, I think have been really good.
I completely agree with you, Robin. It has been quite a show that we've gotten here today. And especially kudos to those route setters. As you said, they've done a great job at figuring out where the skill level is from a lot of these climbers. Just what are they good at? How many can do these coordination moves? How many can do these slow and steady movements where you have to just take your time and keep your hips close to the wall? Who's able to do these powerful moves as well. So on the men's side, that has definitely been a huge separating factor, and I have been very pleased with the route setters when it comes to that. Over on the female side, it has looked quite a lot closer. There's been a lot of boulders that the females haven't quite been able to complete. We've seen Hannah as our leading female athlete only completing 3 boulders.
Yeah.
So obviously that means that over on the female side, it has been quite a lot harder, and the route setters now know that they might have to tone things a bit down tomorrow for those finals. But overall, definitely been interesting to see how the route setters they have panned out here for this finals. And
just while you're talking, we're just going to see if Tomi Salo from Finland can make the move. He goes for the toe hook solution there, as we've seen, and makes it work. And by now, the really exciting thing about watching this problem is watching their right foot, isn't it?
Absolutely. Everyone has been able to more or less do this boulder. We've seen people do the Gaston without any trouble, but it's always whether or not they touch that black tape. But a boulder where there's no black tape is still men's number 5, Max. Right now, trying his hardest to get that boulder done. But it's a hard one, and no one has really been able to move too far on that boulder. Max only has 1 minute and 40 seconds left to go. Robin, do you think Max will be able to do it?
I think I'm not too optimistic, having watched all the other athletes trying to go for that little thumb hold up there, which you can hardly see on this stream, right? But I don't think he will, but
no. And the problem really is that you can't even jump to that last move. You can't even go for a desperate jump when you get up and hold on to that thumb screw, because the last hold isn't even that positive. So you really have to take your time.
Well, that is actually a really. I think he had the right idea there. Actually, switching the feet down there, getting his right foot over in the hole. So maybe I'll take that back. There is a chance there.
Yeah, he still has time for one good attempt, 45 seconds. So Max can definitely do this, but he has to take his time and make sure to move slow and move steadily. We did see Max, as you said, Robin, have the right idea. So if anyone can do it, it might just be Max.
Just yeah, a bit of a fatigue creeping in there as well, it looks like. And I don't think he's going to give it another try, unfortunately. But just talking about the boulders today, and as we talked about a little bit earlier, the route setters has been very focused on sort of testing everyone in the qualification in a range of skill sets. So we've seen the finger strength, the more sort of crimpy-like boulders. We've seen the compression, the upper body strength boulders. We've seen more like coordination moves, and the last one which we've just seen is the more balance and the slap. So they've been very sort of deliberately trying to split or separate the field by testing them in different disciplines. We haven't actually on this stream, which is a bit unfortunate, we haven't seen much from the men's coordination move, have we? Only like a tiny bit.
I think we've only seen it once or twice. Perhaps we can still get a bit more of that, as we are actually going to be checking in here with that one. And with athlete 107, so that means that is going to be Alexi.
Alexi, who did that really efficient first boulder, right?
Yes.
And that is
nice. That is a very good attempt to begin things out here.
So,
but isn't out of the woods yet. There's still more to come. Has to now get up and get out both onto that underclink, but also out onto that big yellow hold, and gets a bit desperate, falls off, and that is going to be the end of this attempt for Alexi.
So one thing with this boulder, what's quite, which you can see, is that it's very clear to the climbers that they need to do a sort of a dynamic move in the first move, do this sideways jump. But they sort of feel like they can do the next move more statically and just move slowly. But I'm pretty sure they have to do another jump actually after the first one. Just go really fast on the next move as well, which maybe Alexi is trying now. But obviously needs to get onto that right foot so he can get the next jump in as well.
But it's a really hard position to be in overall when you get onto that black and white volume that he is holding on to right now with his right hand. It's just really hard to move from there and move fast onto the next hold, because that volume pushes you out and away from the wall, so it's not an easy position for Alexi.
Looks like he's sort of struggling to get any dynamics into his preparation to the move, right? I'm not sure what's going wrong there, but he might want to sort of swing even further to the left before he goes for it. But he's certainly sort of really nailed the first one. That's no problem for him anymore. And maybe this is not the kind of move that sort of gives him a lot of fatigue or tires him a lot. So he's just giving it a lot of goes. You often see that on the dynos like this, that people will give them quite a few tries. And certainly he's sort of slowly, as you see sometimes with these dynos, just slowly getting the hang of it. But time is, time is running out. It's only 1 minute and 43 seconds left to go. But fortunately for Alexi, as you mentioned, Robin, he has already figured out that starting way to get onto this boulder, how to get out onto those two big holes, and then now he just has to create that momentum and jump a bit higher, and then he should be able to get on to that yellow hold. But it's now in a position once again. There's still plenty of time. 1 minute and 16 seconds left to go. I think maybe he's actually back to now trying the more static, the slow solution, right? But decides not to. It's always really hard, like seeing him sort of switching between different solutions. It's always a matter of sort of, it's a situation where you're trying to choose the right tactics in a way. Sometimes you feel like you've got the right solution, you just stick to it, and sometimes you sort of feel you need to adapt. And I'm sure he's not quite sure what's going on there on the second move. But going for the jump again, and he's got the right idea, but he needs to get his right foot all the way up to that black hole there, the large black hole on the right side of the screen. Needs to sort of simultaneously, while he does the jump, with both hands to the large yellow volume there. He needs to just get his right foot up, right?
Yes, but unfortunately for Alexi, time is running out. 10 seconds. Has to be super quick now
Okay.
if he wants to get this one. Has managed to get the zone hold so far, so obviously that is, well, something, but it is not enough not to get the top. And that's going to be, well, Alexi going back to a break with only a consolation prize.
Yeah. So is it time for an update on the score? You're so quick with the numbers, Jesper. You can maybe give us a top 6.
Well, I can definitely do that. For the women, obviously nothing has changed. We are still waiting to get a confirmation on these being the final scores, but it is still Hannah, Sunniva, Ingrid, Rusa, and Gaia and Tina at the top 6 in that respective order. We're still waiting, of course, on that being a confirmation that have climbed, so we're not going to be seeing any more female climbers come out. On the males side, we still have 2 more climbers, 3 if you include the one that we're currently looking at, Nicholas Scharling. But over on the men's, it's still Frederick, Anthony, and Leo at the top. Hannes, Albert, and Björn. No one has really pushed these guys out yet. And for all these newer climbers who are coming out, no one is really finding any tops. People are finding a lot of bonus and those zone holds, but no one is finding those tops quite yet. But obviously, these are only temporary standings. They're not fixed. So we're currently just seeing what the judges are also seeing.
Right now we're having Nicholas Scharling down at number 1.
And Nicholas moving into that same old position that we've seen before. There we go. That's the toe hook. That has just been a huge problem for so many climbers.
Yeah.
Again, the problem with the toe hook, you get too comfortable in that position, and then you have a hard time getting out of that position. We need to see instead Nicholas just tries like handed, perhaps pulling hard as those crimps, and just making sure to get it into a comfortable position on those crimps.
Yeah, as we've seen many times before, it's really tempting to go for the toe hook there, and a few climbers have made it work. But basically, you just have to sort of accept that these are really bad crimps and really bad footholds, and sort of try to move down into them.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
And keep away from the black tape, of course.
That is the most exciting thing, said ironically, about this boulder. All that black tape.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nicholas taking his time to once again get ready to get onto this boulder.
I sort of feel that that's a little bit that's often a sign of sort of a bit of experience, and that a climber like Nicholas here can sort of take his time before he takes the next try. You often see, especially young climbers and perhaps more inexperienced climbers, giving each boulder many tries. So he's definitely sort of got his tactics right, giving it a few good tries instead of just throwing all his energy at it at once. But it's just he's actually brushing his shoes. I thought he was also doing the trick with switching shoes, but he's just giving them a brush, actually to get a bit better, to stand better on those tiny holes. You can't see it on the screen, but they are just really bad.
Yes, at this point in time, those holes have been used by a lot of climbers, so making sure to also brush your shoes are definitely a good strategy at this point in time. But take a look over to your left. That's one Swedish athlete getting awfully close to completing men's number 3, falling off unfortunately. But Nicholas, at the same time that our Swedish athlete falls off, gets back onto that boulder, slips with his foot, but 30 seconds, can still do this.
Final attempt. don't know why he was looking at the judge there. Okay. Just struggling to sort of get his center of gravity over to the right there.
5 seconds left to go. Jumps for that last hold, but can't quite get it, and that's going to be the end of the first boulder here from Niklas, meaning that our next athlete will be Mikael Suikkonen, coming in from Finland. Last 2 competitors on boulder number 1, and for today is going to be Mikael Suikkonen, as we mentioned, and Jonas Salmi coming in. So that means that we are getting awfully close to the end of the qualification round here for the men's side. And you can see, again, as Robin mentioned, just taking your time is a sign of experience, but also starting out by brushing every hold is also a sign of experience, knowing that you are coming in as one of those last competitors. You are coming in at a point where you have to then take your time to just brush those holds, make sure that you have the very best situation for yourself. Mikael pulling out onto that starting hold, jumps up, gets his foot up high. Now moving on to that Gaston. Out onto the crimps. Those crimps, as we've mentioned multiple times, are not exactly comfortable, but you just have to deal with what you are given. And for Mikael, looks like he's not comfortable in this, but oh wow, that is definitely something that we've not seen before. Oh, sorry that I got so loud, but wow, jumping for that finish hold, nearly getting that as well, just slipping off. I'm sure that if Mikael had more lock-off power, then that would have been a top and a flash for Mikael.
Yeah, I think it looked really promising for him to go for this sort of like double dyno move. Obviously, doing the double dyno, there's also the risk of the black tape right there, but we'll see. But it looked like I think he's going to go for that solution again, actually. So at the top of the men's standing, it hasn't really changed. We're still seeing Frederik Selasius, Anthony Gullstein, Leo Ketilbø, Hannes Pullman, Albert Sudhurst, and Bjørn Arnel Isager as number 6. So we've got both Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Finland in the finals at the moment.
And with so few competitors left here today, it might just mean that we're not going to be seeing any changes to this final standings. However,
we are, you can't see it on the screen, but we're currently watching, is it Alexi? Just a minute.
Yes, I believe that is Alexi on men's number 5. We just got that on screen.
Yeah.
He was up basically trying to do a hand swap on that big thumb catch.
Yeah.
Not a nice position to be in, but you know, if it works, it works. And well, Alexi trying to make it work. Was thrown off the wall just after having gotten that hand swap, but let's see if we can see it once again. Alexi moving up, not quite getting that dynamic move up to that thumb catch. You can't move too slow as well, because while the hold is sloperish and you are like all right once you have your foot out there, it isn't good enough for you to like push yourself up too slow. Alexi taking his time, getting ready for this boulder. Now getting out onto that right hand hold. Left hand up, right foot up. Now up to that thumb catch. Again, not quite able to grab that catch, not quite able to finish things right there. So that means that that's going to be another attempt here from Alexi with only 40 seconds left to go. Alexi is definitely in a hurry. Come on, Alexi. 15 seconds left. Up onto that thumb catch. Grabs it this time around. Let's see if he can round things out. 5 seconds. Time is running out, but Alexi jumps for it, can't get it, and that's going to be a very good attempt from Alexi. A super good qualification round. I'm not sure if that is enough for him to get on to the top 6. Does mean now that we're going to have our last competitor going on to the match. That is going to be Jonas Salmi. Jonas Salmi did get first place at the Nordic Lead Championship back in 2018 in the Youth B category, so is used to the pressure from fighting in these tournaments and in these competitions, but obviously here today going up against all the seniors as well as the juniors. It is a hard task to get into top 6. And, well, I'm sure that Jonas is going to give it his all, but now we're checking in here with 309. Our competitor here from Sweden, 309, that is going to be Gustav Sonnesson on that very dynamic one.
Yeah. So just to give you a big recap of the day, we've been seeing both the seniors and the juniors on the same problem, and the competition is arranged so that only 6 people, all in all, go to the finals, right? And looking at the women's side, the female side, I can see that there is one junior, Ingrid Kinnagen from Norway. That is juniors. The rest are seniors. So. That's a bit of an odd system we have there with the juniors and seniors combined, but quite a few of the athletes is from the seniors category.
Yes, obviously seniors, they do have a bit more experience to work with, having competed in multiple competitions before. Does mean that you get that experience, that knowledge that helps you just do well in these types of situations. So all in all, juniors, a lot of them are here for more experience as well. If they get into the finals, then that's just awesome for them. That's more experience. But with us combining both juniors and seniors, a lot is to be expected that those seniors, they will be moving in to those grand finals. As we are now looking once again at our competitor, 117, Johannes Wadenbeck, here on men's number 5. Johannes taking his time, getting ready for another attempt. You have to take that time to get ready. Obviously, we've talked about how it isn't really a hard boulder, but you still have to read the boulder perfectly. You have to know what you need to do in order to finish this entire problem. So with 1 minute and 25 seconds left to go now, and Johannes having taken a break, having brushed more or less every hold, surely Johannes is ready to give it 1 or 2 more good attempts. Johannes now chalking up, moving on to that boulder, looking to get ready.
So I just checked up on the
female side.
No, on the men's side, and I think there are no juniors going to the final there, unfortunately. So that's the seniors going through, as the result stands right now. So yeah. Also, I think we've got, so far on the women's side, we've got Norway, Finland, Denmark, but unfortunately not Sweden being in the final on the seniors side, or the female side. But it may still change. I'm not sure.
It can definitely still change, but talking of something that might not change, that's going to be Johannes Wedenbeck. That was his last attempt, surely here on men's number 5, with only 5 seconds left to go. Can't do anything more, and that's going to be the end of his qualification. Now, we have seen every single man come out here tonight and give it his all, so that means we won't be seeing any more male competitors on men's number 1. From now onwards, it's only going to be 2 and then so forth moving. Simply because we have run out of male competitors.
So Nicholas Tompkins from Denmark going on the 5th problem here. Interesting to see if he can use all his power to to get further up on the pink one.
Nicholas, a super powerful boulder, but right there, not in the right position. Needs to spend a little bit more time getting into the balance to really get into the right position and really land this boulder. Just takes his time, brushes everything, making sure to give himself the very best chance at moving all the way up to at least the zone hold. Zones, they mean quite a lot. Sometimes zones can be what makes the difference between you getting into the final and you not making it into the final. So Nicholas takes his time, gets onto the boulder once again. Right hand out, pushes up onto that left leg. Left hand out, now has to swing over to that right foot. We've seen a lot of competitors do this, but it hasn't really looked that efficient when they've gone up that way. It's looked much better when they've been further down, when they haven't been so high up, and just use their mobility and flexibility to get up onto that pink foothold.
Yeah, I think he's probably got the right idea there. As you said, it takes some flexibility getting your right foot up there. But yeah, just proving to be a really, really hard boulder problem, this one. But looking, I mean, this part of the competition, the qualification rounds, is over soon. But tomorrow we'll obviously have the finals, and I guess we can promise that you will also have a little bit more. We'll have a bit more information coming up tomorrow, sort of regularly, so you can hopefully see the results. And I think something is going on right now with his starting position.
Yes, he is now on to that hold. Again, up with the right hand, left hand up, and then has to do that very big swing because he is so far up, but is having a hard time doing that all in all. But yes, tomorrow is going to be finals in the evening. We're going to have Youth A and Youth B qualifications as well. Then moving out from those qualifications, we're going straight into the finals as well. So
I think we should also just briefly apologize if it's been fairly chaotic in the start with the qualifications here. Obviously there is 10 boulders at the same time, so it's hard to keep everyone updated on what's going on. But tomorrow in the finals it'll be a little bit easier to just see what's going on and being able to follow the standings on a regular basis.
Yes,
I hope so.
Yes, if you're new to climbing, then this type of competition is super hard to follow. Having all 10 climbers on the mats at the same time can be very hard to follow. So obviously that is a problem that won't be present when we are having the finals, where it's only going to be one climber at a time. But obviously that is how a lot of these types of competitions are handled, simply because having, 30, 50 climbers that have to come out onto the mats, it can take quite a long time if you take them one by one. So while it can make it hard, it is a very efficient way to handle things. But tomorrow, yes, having one climber out does make for a bit more of a show, so to say. However, at this point in time, you have to say that Nicholas is definitely starting to look super tired. Not really being able to put too much into this boulder, not really able to give it his best anymore.
Yeah.
We've seen him try to do the swing a few times, but time is just running out, and he's going for attempt after attempt after attempt, and continues to fall off just from the start. So at this point in time, I don't think Nicholas is even going to get that zone hold, simply because he looks so tired.
Yeah, he's done.
But that is another round done here today. And that means that we are now getting even closer to the end of today's competition. 7 climbers all in all left here today. We still, however, have a few climbers on those starting boulders. Boulder number 2 and boulder number 3 still being climbed here by these male competitors, but it is still super interesting to see whether or not boulder number 5 can be topped. And this time around, it is competitor 309, also known as Gustav Sonnesson, coming out onto the mat, trying to see if he can figure out how to do this boulder. Gustav just having a hard time getting off from the starting position all in all, so it's not looking too easy here, this boulder once again. Now, slowly moving up with that left hand. Has to go for the swing, but it's still all about holding that position and holding your balance, and it's a hard position to be in when these holds are not as good as you want them to be. They are sloperish, so for someone like Gustav, holding on to that hold is so hard when you still have to keep your balance and you still have to go for that foot swing. Gustav not again having a hard time just getting off the start. Robin, what do you think Gustav could do to just try and change things up? How do you see him moving onwards from here?
Yeah, I think following the example of the others, he needs to obviously push on his right hand up. Probably, yeah. And of course, quickly getting his left foot up into the hole there, so he can push up. So that is a solution we've seen other athletes has been using, and I think that's the right way to do it. But yeah,
more focus on holding his balance with that right hand is what Robin prescribes here from Gustav. But Gustav also starting to look really tired, having the same problems as Nicholas had toward the end of his attempt here on number 5, where he couldn't even push himself up. For someone like Gustav here, Gustav is, well, not the I would say he is a very experienced athlete. He has participated in so many IFC Youth Cups, where he started in 2017 and then just participated in so many up until this year. So he has the experience, but he's never won anything. And it might just mean that even though you have that experience, it isn't necessarily going to give you a medal to prove as well. So for someone like Gustav, it might just mean that he has to slow things down, because I think this is what attempt number 7, 8. Maybe take a bit more time, slow things down, try and get that energy reserve back up so that you can go for one last strong attempt.
yeah, it's always difficult when you struggle to sort of find the starting position, and maybe this doesn't really tire him a lot. So why not just go for it, I suppose. But certainly sort of trying to find his balance in the start there. Yeah, but Maybe we should just, since we haven't unfortunately got the results or the standings on the screen, I think we should just give once again a quick, give you a little bit of information on who's going through as the standings are right now. And you might correct me, Jesper, but Hanna Midby, Sunniva I Have, Ingrid Kindlihagen, Norway, Rosa Hudikopi, and Gaia Toft and Tina Hafsas are still the six going through on the women's side.
Yes, on the women's side, nothing is going to change up as the women have finished their qualification round. So nothing is going to change up here for those female athletes on the side of the men. Alexi McCall, however, have gone up into the top 6, pushing out Bjørn Lisager from Denmark as well. So that means that we're not going to have a single Danish athlete moving into tomorrow's final. I don't think so, unless Nicolas can upset some of these climbers. But I'm not sure how many tops Nicolas from Denmark, who are currently climbing as number 125. I'm not sure how many tops he has.
No.
But all in all, if he can come up and upset someone, then we could have a Danish athlete in tomorrow's final. But looking at it, it doesn't look like he is.
So Alexi actually had a really a good qualification there. He got two tops and is currently up at 4th place. And as you said, pushed out Bjørn and Lisager. But really well done by Alexi. But yeah, I guess we're not going to have any Danish competitors in the men's side.
No, unfortunately not. So Gaia is going to be the only Danish competitor in tomorrow's final. Gaia, over on the female side, is going to be the one who's going to be representing Denmark. But, you know, it just goes to show how tough the competition is here at the Nordic Bouldering Championship 2021. It's all about who can perform the best, and these Swedish, Norwegian, and Finnish climbers, they have just proved to be so much better than the Danish national team. Even though the Danish national team have given it their all, these athletes from those 3 before mentioned countries just have given it their all as well, and have proved to be much better.
But you know, qualification rounds are always risky. We have to sort of remember that going into qualification rounds or semi-final, the same format, it's on-site. You haven't seen it before, so you may struggle to find the right solution. You may sort of find a solution you think is the right one, but really going in the wrong direction. So I'd say that there's always a large risk. You also see that in the World Cups. You see favorites sometimes going out really early because many things can go wrong in the qualification rounds. And also, it's been fairly tight, the tops here. 2 tops. I think you need 2 tops to we can just maybe also give you a little bit of an update on how much you need. You need 2 tops to go to the final, but 2 tops is not enough. You also need 5 bonuses, and actually you need to have done the bonus. Not you need. There's also attempt. There's also the attempts.
In the fewest attempts as well. So
not the bonus, but you need 5 bonuses and then less attempts. I suppose that's how it looks right now.
Yeah, so it definitely is a
very
close competition, and as Robin mentioned, obviously, it is also just. It all comes down to the fact that, as you mentioned, you haven't seen the boulders before, but you also just have 5 minutes to figure out how to do these boulders. So for a lot of these Danish athletes, not having figured out in 5 minutes just means that they had a hard time in this qualification round. But it has been a hard one. We've mentioned that before. As we now are checking in with this dynamic men's boulder, let's see if someone can actually figure out how to do that. That's very close to the intended beta with 1 minute left to go. I'm sure we could get another good attempt here from this Finnish athlete.
So Axel Lindfors actually getting close there. certainly got the right idea, and he's even got his right foot up, so that's fairly close. And he's still got, half a minute, a bit more. I'm not sure about his other, how he's done on the other boulders, but maybe he could also upset the standings. I'm not sure.
I owe you an answer to that. I'm not quite sure where he is, but it doesn't look like he is anywhere close to upsetting the standings.
Okay.
Does give a very nice try right there to try and figure out how to deal with that one, but with time running out, you can see just behind him there. 2 seconds left was his best attempt right there. Tried to get it, but unfortunately did not go all the way. Now the brushing will start here over on men's number 5. Obviously, you know that you have to give yourself the very best attempt, so brushing it up, making sure that you get all the friction out of that hold does mean that you do give yourself that very best attempt. Over on men's number 3, the brushing is also starting up. That is from competitor 305, our Jonas Salmi. The last competitor here today is also brushing that up, but right here we are now looking at our last Danish competitor, Nicholas Scharling, trying to figure out how to deal with this very dynamic men's boulder number 4. Hasn't quite figured out the start yet, but goes in for the dynamic one. Tries to grab on top of the hold instead of pressing up into it. Robin, do you think that's an easier way of doing it, or is it just Nicholas who hasn't figured out the intended basin quite yet?
No, I'm quite sure that you need to push on the large black hold there, the bonus hold. We've seen other climbers do that, and it also looks natural to push up to stop your momentum. It's just not, so he needs to sort of change a little bit and give it a push instead of trying to pull on it.
Yeah, Nicholas trying to go in for that pinch. Can also work if you have enough strength in your fingers.
I'm not sure.
Probably could if you have enough strength in your fingers, but I'm sure pushing is a much easier way of doing it, and Nicholas just hasn't figured that out yet.
Another issue in in these kinds of dynamic sort of sideways runs is sometimes you actually go too far. I think he is actually jumping a little bit too far to the right, and that gives him less of a hold on the big volume there. So he needs to go a little bit more into the wall, maybe as he just sort of started out doing there, and then going for the push up there.
But at this point in time, Robin, Nicholas is starting to look quite tired. With 2 minutes and 12 seconds left, as you can see on your screen, do you think it would be advisable for him to just take a break and slow things down? After all, you know, it is boulder number 4, so you do have that slow and steady balancey boulder left, but still, that also takes some power. You've seen how many competitors have fallen off that foot swing, so having a bit of energy left might be a good thing.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that actually. It's quite normal that you see people will go for many attempts on these sort of dynamic moves where you just slowly sometimes have to figure out exactly where your body sort of placement has to be. So no, I think it's a good idea to give it quite a few attempts. I'm not sure that's draining his energy too much actually. But sometimes on those dynamic moves, it still makes sense to sort of maybe take a short break and reset and think whether you've got the right solution. Maybe sort of think about whether you can sort of approach the dyno in a different way. So it's not saying you just have to go for attempts all the time, but quite often you see that you just gradually find the momentum you need and the right placement when you hit the holes that you're aiming for. So that's why you give it as many goes as you can. Obviously, he's got quite a way to go here still, but yeah, I guess he's trying to get the zone. I suppose he hasn't got the zone yet.
No,
you need to sort of get in a position where you can actually use the zone holds if you to get the zone.
Yes, unfortunately for Nicholas, he's still trying to go in with that pinching strategy, and it just hasn't quite worked yet. Not trying to go for that press. One last go to try and see if he can get the zone, and there we go. So that's Nicholas getting the zone, but time runs out, and well,
he actually gets the zone, yeah. And I think that's a good example of you can have like 10 or I don't know, maybe 15 tries. I don't know how many times he's given it a go, and it sort of looks hopeless, and then just suddenly you sort of figure out the right amount of pace on the jump, and also the placement you wanna end up in. Yeah, so good thing we just saw him actually getting the zone there.
Absolutely, it is going to mean a lot for Nicholas's chance of getting into that final. But now we're checking in here with boulder number 5 once again. Competitor 102, Axel Lindfoss, getting that foot
really
swing.
Strong there.
Yeah, looking super strong, and having read this boulder perhaps quite to perfection, at least getting that foot swing to begin with means that now with him having just 3 minutes and 50 seconds left to go, he can definitely figure out the rest of this boulder without having too much stress on his hands, simply because he just figured out that foot swing to begin with. So, Robin, on a boulder like this, how much does it mean that you now have so much time to figure out the rest of the boulder?
Yeah, getting if you mean like if your first go earlier on in the within those 5 minutes is successful and you feel you made good sort of progress and all that, then this can be obviously really good because you get focused on your next try. It can actually also, if you don't have the right solution, or it can sort of make you become a little bit fixed in what you need to do if your first attempt was good. But obviously, yeah, it's always a matter of strategy going on to boulder problems like this. Whether you feel that the solution you've got is the right one, you just have to be a bit more precise or a bit more strong or something like that. Or if you need to change up the basic strategy, being able to adapt within those 5 minutes, right? So, but if your first try is fairly good, then quite often you'll just stick to that. But I think we've seen many of the climbers coming up to that sort of thumb. It's not really a thumb catch, but that tiny sort of chip up there where you can put your thumb on, right, as he does now. And oh, that looks super promising, and he actually gets to switch hands as well.
Oh yes, Axel.
That could be so awesome if we could see a top on this final boulder. Whoa.
Axel moving into position, swapping those foot. But now he has to get onto the hole. The box is not the finishing hole, and that's actually going to be, I believe, our first top of boulder number 5. Axel Lindfoss coming in here, showing us how it is done. But man, Axel really showing up here and showing us just what he is made of. Not a climber that really has proven himself too much on the international scene. Only ever participating in 2 IFSC World Cups and not really getting the best of results. Getting a 59th as the highest position.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's going to be. I'm curious to see the end result from him. See if he can maybe upset the final score. We'll tell you in a bit.
But even if he doesn't upset the final score, that is definitely something to be proud of. To get that boulder and show us just how it is done. It's not often, we haven't really seen that boulder being topped at all, so just coming in here and doing that definitely goes to show just how promising it can be for an athlete like that to figure out some of those boulders that a lot of other people haven't been able to do. Mikael right now on men's number 4. You can see here pushing up, spending a lot of time just trying to get this one. Has done the zone part, but now has to get out on to the top. 10 seconds left to go, but falls off, and that surely is the last good attempt here.
You can see, you could also see here how it sort of worked in the first move, not to jump too far, but to only jump as far as you need on the first move so that you get the grip on the big volume there. Okay.
Mikael just taking a deep look into that camera, just looks, well, very tired at this point in time, having spent so much energy on that one boulder. As we now see Nicholas Scharling moving on to men's number 5. Nicholas, one of our Danish competitors here tonight, is trying to show us just what he can do. One of those unproven talents in Denmark as well. But doesn't mean that he's not a strong one. But if he can't figure out the start early on, then that has just been, it has proven to us today that if people don't figure out the start early on, then they have a hard time figuring out the start at all. And with 1 minute already being used here from Nicholas, he definitely is starting to run out of time.
Yeah, and as we talked about it a little bit earlier, obviously on these holes you need good friction, you need a good stick.
Yes.
It's not that it is. We've just seen a guy finish off the problem, so obviously it's still possible, but it may be a little bit more slippery by now than in the start, maybe. Depends on different factors. Also, maybe the temperature actually has gone a little bit down. That could make it better. But in general, coming in as the last guy here will make it probably, a bit more hard.
Yes, when you are coming on to those holes towards the end, so many people have been on them. So much chalk, so much skin, so much shoe rubber as well. So there's a lot of factors that play into this boulder to make it either easier or harder. And so far you can see Nicholas just having a hard time controlling that foot swing. The hole is not so good anymore, and well, you are starting to become tired as well. You have been active for quite a long time. Nicholas started 20 minutes past 8, and at this point in time, that's 15 minutes ago. So Nicholas has been active and a part of this competition for so long now that obviously the fatigue is starting to creep in.
Yeah, fatigue is certainly a huge factor in qualification rounds, semi-final rounds. You get a bit more of a break when you're in the finals. At least often you do.
Yeah, often you do. Sometimes people flash everything.
Yeah, that you're quickly on to the next problem. But I mean, these 5 minutes on and 5 minutes off is certainly fatigue plays quite a role.
It absolutely does, and it does make it just so much harder for everyone to keep their energy. But this looks more promising.
Yeah.
But getting down low, if you can then hold that and engage his core, get his foot up, then that might be the way to go. But we have seen most competitors go for that foot swing, and I still believe that is the best way to go, especially for someone who is starting to get tired.
Yeah, I think you definitely need to keep your right hand in a push, and not try to sort of So his first solution was probably the better one.
But now with 1 minute left to go, Nicholas hasn't really made any progress here on this boulder.
He's
Has found this type of solution where he just pulls hard on his left hand, tries to slowly creep up with his left foot still on the volume. Hasn't really worked wonders so far, but it has been what has looked the best for Nicholas. And still 30 seconds left to go. It means that he has one attempt left to really try and get that zone. And, well, it could be the way forward.
So I'm just looking at the results now, seeing if maybe there is a change. But I'm guessing that it's not quite updated yet. Axel Lindfors is not, his score is not in yet. Be interesting to see.
But that is the end of this qualification round, nevertheless, for Nicholas Scharling. So that means that we have 2 climbers left, Mikael and Jonas. This time around, it is going to be Mikael jumping on boulder number 5. With 4 minutes and 30 seconds left to go, just again, knows that everyone has been in this boulder so far, so just making sure to brush everything up. You can see right here, taking their time. You have to simply just do this again, coming out as the last boulder. You have to make sure that those holes are crisp and fresh.
Yeah.
Getting into starting position. Feet up, right hand out, pressing now, and now has to get that left foot up into that hole, but this looks rather uncomfortable here from Mikael, looking like they don't really want to do that and want to get into that position, trying to reach up with their left hand instead.
Yeah.
That's not quite the normal beta that we see, Robin.
No, we've seen the other sort of successful starts down there. They've done this little like frog-like position where you do the heel hook onto the volume, as he does now. Yeah, looks like it's the yeah. I think he's got the right idea there. Just needs to get his left foot up, and so he can actually push on his right hand. Yeah.
But unfortunately falling off, and that means that that's going to be another attempt used here by Mikael. But at this point in time, you just have to spend a lot of attempts. You have to get that experience and try to figure out how to do this. So right hand out again, trying to jump up for that left hand. Apparently doesn't really want to commit to that left foot and try and get it into that hold. Two minutes and 40 seconds left to go here for Mikael. So still plenty of time to try and figure out everything about this boulder, but the way that Mikael is doing it is not exactly the slow and steady way. Apparently now going for that right beta. So this is what we've seen before. This is the beta that works, where you can get into that position to do the foot swing, but hasn't looked comfortable doing it so far, but hasn't really looked successful in jumping up with that left hand as well. Mikael is starting to look like someone who doesn't really have the options and the solutions, Robin.
Yeah. It's it's late in the qualifications. He's one of the last guys there. It's also a little bit, quite often it's a bit, it can actually, even though we're at the end of the day, it can be fairly stressful being one of the last guys out there. But yeah, but just looking at the overall results, they haven't changed, still haven't changed. I'm just looking whether maybe Lindfors results are in. Not yet, I think. And maybe also we could talk a little bit about sort of whether there's been any upsets today. And I was thinking Katrine Vanetsaling, I was sort of expecting her to go through or to the finals, but Currently, she's down at 12th place, having made one boulder. So that's, I guess, a little bit of an upset. Maybe the type of problems didn't suit her well. I don't know.
Absolutely, someone we did expect to go all the way. Katrine is one of those top Danish female athletes. Not getting into the finals definitely must sting, but sometimes that is a part of the learning curve to have these kind of defeats. So a big upset that, yes, Katrine isn't going to be moving in there. I'm also quite surprised that someone like Regina Stora won't be getting into the finals as well. Has so much experience and so many medals on her resume. So that is interesting to not see her go all the way in there. But Regina is also participating in, I believe, the juniors. Oh, sorry, in the seniors. So still, interesting to not see her move all the way in there. Who I was thinking of when it comes to the juniors is Ingrid Kindlikhagen. I'm quite surprised to also see her at her specific position. So much experience on her resume as well. She is a super strong climber, so seeing her in third position is a big surprise to me, Robin, considering that she's taking a part of the final away from someone like Katrine or the other strong athletes coming in from the Norwegian countries.
Yeah, really good round from her, as we talked about. If I'm not mistaken, and here Axel Lindfors is in as the third, and that means
we didn't quite see who we threw out, but no, that means that Axel Lindfors will actually be moving into tomorrow's final. So that is going to be quite an interesting one to keep an eye out for. Axel Lindfors. That is, if everyone remembers, the athlete that did top Boulder number 5. So definitely one to keep an eye out for tomorrow. I will be very interested to see what he can do in tomorrow's scene. He didn't look at the strongest, but coming in here and doing that number 5 is definitely something to keep an eye out for. But looks like he did throw out Albus Sufferst from Norway, so he won't be making it into the final. Axel Lindfors will be instead.
Yeah.
But now here, last athlete of the day, Jonas Salmi, going on to boulder number 5. Looks comfortable moving up with that left foot and pushing with his right hand at the same time, but the foot swing is still the part where Jonas is stuck. So whether or not Jonas can move from that position does mean quite a lot. I don't think Jonas will be able to upset anyone. Our standings will slowly be updating, so we will see if Jonas can do that, but I don't believe he will be able to do anything, coming up with any upsets. But nevertheless, Jonas Salmi just getting here and getting that experience. The last athlete of the day, 2 minutes and 35 seconds left to go, does mean a lot for some of these younger athletes who are just getting to climb on world-class boulders and compete against everyone else who is super strong from these Nordic countries. But getting that thumb catch is a very good start here from Jonas. Now, obviously falling down, won't be able to move quite further from there, but getting the thumb catch and with 2 minutes left to go does mean that there's still plenty of time to go and to try and figure everything out. Brushing everything up, making sure to give himself the best outcome towards the end. Robin, with 1 minute and 40 seconds left to go, how much time should Jonas spend just getting ready, taking a break? How much time should he spend just shaking his arms?
Yeah, I'm guessing maybe just what quite many climbers do is wait till there's 1 minute left. If you feel you've got like one good attempt left, then 1 minute, that makes it possible for you to go all the way to the top. And also maybe if you have a slip just in the start, you can still go for another attempt. So that's what I would do.
So with 1 minute and 5 seconds left to go, we do see
And
Jonas
he does actually get it out of the yeah.
jumping onto that boulder, but once again falling just a moment that he is getting close to that foam catch. So very close here from Jonas, but as Robin also said, 1 minute left to go. He did go on to the boulder around 120, so he has 45 seconds left to go. Still plenty of time for one good attempt. I do believe Jonas already did get the zone, so if he's going on to that boulder, it is to end out that boulder. 30 seconds left to go. This is do or die time here from Jonas Salmi. Right hand, left foot. Left hand moving up, and you can see the clock down in your right hand corner, but that's a foot slip here from Jonas, and that will mean that that's going to be the end of the qualification round for Jonas and the end of the qualification round in total. So, what a day, Robin. What a day. So, a lot of upsets coming in all, and, well, 6 athletes moving from the women's side of things and the male side of things. As we talked about, yes, a lot of upsets. Katrine Salling not going to be there. We're not going to be seeing someone like Katrine Jensen as well, and Regina Søborg. So a lot of female athletes not moving in there, and obviously on the male side, there's quite a lot of athletes as well. Someone like Frederik Wittberg, Emil Abrahamson, Thijs and Björn as well. That's a lot of athletes that does have potential to move all the way into the final, but just didn't perform today.
Yeah, and also I guess a strong field, close in the top as well. But as I said earlier on, I think the reach setters have done a fairly good job about sort of getting a split, although maybe the boulders have been a little bit too difficult. Not too much, but a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Robin, with that being said, that means that we are going to be rounding out today's stream. Thank you everyone for watching. A huge congratulations to all the athletes moving into tomorrow's final. And a huge thank you to all the athletes in general just for participating in the 2021 Nordic Bouldering Championship. We are going to be back tomorrow around 3 in the afternoon, where we're going to be having the Youth A and Youth B finals. So stay tuned for tomorrow at 3 in the afternoon. My name is Jesper. I've been joined by Robin, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.